Hello, I'm Crystal Washington, technology strategist and futurist.
And I'm Karen McCullough. They call me the Millennial Evangelist, and I like to help you adapt to change. And today, we want you to rethink it forward.
And by rethink it forward, we mean that there are things that have worked for us in the past that aren't really going to work for us in the future. And if we were to be really honest, they're not all working for us right now.
Right. So today, I want you to talk about something, Crystal, that I think is top of mind for me and probably for everybody out there because we're all on our computers so much. In fact, last night I was so worried that my computer was going to die. It was like making a little bit of a noise, and I went, please, baby, please make it another day. Talk to us about online security. Tell us some of the things that we should be looking out for.
Okay. So was there something in particular that you were curious about as we're right now recording on Zoom?
I love to zoom, 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 zoom. I want to zoom, 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 zoom. Yes, I'm so worried that they're going to take my Zoom away from me.
Oh, no. Okay, so here's the thing about Zoom, because I know that's been in the news right now and people are trying to figure it out. Zoom does not support end-to-end encryption, meaning that your information is not as safe as it could be in some other applications. But here's the truth. You know, what makes Zoom so popular is its ease of use. You know, when you compare it to some of its competitors, you can have someone who has little to no experience with webinar software, give them a link and they jump right on, and it's easy. Unfortunately, the very things that make Zoom easy to use that are a competitive advantage are actually responsible for some of the security concerns on the back end. So unfortunately, as they improve security, the ease of access of using it will actually decrease. It's kind of like, did you hear about the people bombing with like porn and stuff?
Oh yeah, that's what we, yeah. Zoom bombing, they call it.
Yeah, so that's how we know we have to give out passwords, and we can't just, and so now what happens is they say, okay, you give out the link that already has the password in it. Well, that's great, but the password doesn't help you if you're posting it in public, if it's still all part of that one link. It's the exact same thing, right? So Zoom is not necessarily problematic, except that you don't want to, you know, talk about sensitive internal information.
Right.
There's actually a treasure trove of Zoom videos that popped up on a website a couple days ago, and there's just thousands of them. There's like, whose Zooms are these? So you don't want to talk about anything that's privileged information. You want to make sure that if you're in financial services, the basic version of Zoom is probably not compliant. That's not what you want to use. So check with your institution or your company. But that's Zoom. I also have a few more little tips for everybody.
Oh, please share.
So they're techie, but it's not too techie, okay? So it's all digestible. So one of the first things is that unfortunately we know since the beginning of time, whenever there's a tragedy, Karen, there's always dishonest people who want to take advantage.
Oh, right. Making the money from the virus.
Yes. And so the scammers are out there, y'all, and they're feeding on people's fears. Everything from contacting people saying, hey, we can get you COVID-19 testing kits. And they're not even real, but people are ordering these things to trying to get you to sign in for supposed SBA loans. But they're having you put your company details and information and personal information on there so that they can then steal your identity.
Right. They want your social security.
Yeah, they want your social security. They want your, if you have a business, your business EIN. They're getting all this information. And so we have to be very, very careful and make sure that we pause for a second before we make any moves or click on anything, because this is how people are stealing information. It's only going to get worse. One of the things that I tend to suggest that people do is to freeze or lock their credit with the 3 major bureaus. And I'll put some links, you know, Karen, I'll put some links underneath this video so you can see how to do that. Now, if you're trying to get a loan right now, I had to unlock my credit with the bureaus for a few days. I gave it like a couple weeks or whatever, and then it's going back on. What these locks or freezes do is they make sure that someone can't get a credit card in your name or any of that kind of stuff because it's locked. It's unusable. And there's a difference between freezing and locking. Freezing is free. So all the bureaus are required by law in the US, you know, in the United States to allow you to freeze your credit. That costs nothing. If you want to lock it, then that actually usually carries a cost with the bureaus, and it unlocks it supposedly faster, but I find that freezes unlock just as fast. So
I froze all mine. I froze all three, and then I went and refinanced my house. So like 2 weeks later, I had to unfreeze them. It took a second, and now they're back frozen again. So it's really easy, and I totally recommend it. It's a snap to do. Go and do that.
yeah, now you don't have to worry about people opening credit cards or lines of credit or getting utilities in your name. So go ahead and freeze that.
Right.
FYI, little tip for you for those of you that have children that may or may not have contact with all different kinds of family members or people, you can actually put freezes on their credit too. So there's a way to do that for minors ahead of time. So if you have small children, you could put a freeze on their account until they're 16, 17, 18, and not take it off until then, because what do they need credit for when they're 5?
I'd say 24 might be a better age.
I'm going to have to agree with you because, man, Karen, when I got to college, you know how they give you free t-shirts for filling out for, I had so many free t-shirts.
Right.
I'll tell you something. I had a credit card for everybody but McDonald's. All right. Next one, when you get emails from different organizations, they might say, hey, we're part of the SBA or we're part of this. Anything that could be sensitive that's requiring you to sign in, go ahead and take your mouse, your clicker, your touchpad, whatever, get that arrow over the link, and in the bottom left-hand side, you'll be able to see where it's leading you, the actual address on the web of where it's trying to send you. It may not be where you think it is. And anytime you're in doubt, ignore the email, log on to that actual website itself.
Just cut and paste.
And then go through there. Well, not even cutting and pasting, but if you know it's the SBA, go into the SBA, sign into under you, and then see if that same message or something is connected to that. So you don't have to click the link, go through the source. That way you know for sure you're safe. Last tip, anything? Do you have anything on that one, Karen?
I get those all the time. I just go up and look at the email address, and it's really interesting because it's never the company. It's always some weird Gmail account or something. It's kind of fun now because I don't click on anything. I actually don't really click on anything. So don't send me a file because I'm not opening it.
Yeah,
or a joke.
My favorite is when it's a government email from like a Yahoo.
Right, that's right. Right.
It's like SBA@yahoo.com.
Right.
All right. So the last one is, and we're talking about, I just gave the example of the government. Y'all, the government is not calling you by phone. Okay. So, the IRS or whoever else is not calling you saying you're behind on taxes and we're about to come and take your house. That's not how this works. Okay. So, and I'm giggling, but if you don't know, you don't know. So,
they also don't email you. The IRS only sends you letters. I know that for a fact. They don't email you either.
So, don't react to anything, because what's happening is they're depending on your fear. And as long as you have fear, you're going to have a quick reaction to try to mitigate whatever's happening. And that's how they get you. You're not stopping to think first. So take your time. If you have other people in your family that need to hear about this, even parents, feel free to shoot a link to this video over to them so that they understand, because right now people are also preying on elderly who are not technology advanced, because there's plenty of people that are seniors that are tech savvy, right? So I'm not lumping everyone together, or that are scam savvy. But for those that aren't, make sure that we're empowering them with the information they need, and shoot them this video as well, and they'll be able to access the links below.
That's really good. Yep. That's very smart, Crystal. Yeah, be safe, everybody.